What a day it has been here at Hancock Stadium. 3 state champions have been crowned. We will crown our 4th in a little while as the 4A championship game features Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin against Providence. Only one loss between these two teams. Providence not only going for an undefeated season, they are also going for a 2nd straight state title. And once again, as you've seen all day long, the teams that are here, they are teams that can run the football, and that's the case with these two schools.
Right, and the point you make, Jim, is the fact that they're a defending champion, but they were in 5A last year, and now they're in a 4A class. But nevertheless, they've won 3 other state championships, and they've won 27 games in a row.
The Providence Celtics not only are one of the better teams in the state, by many they are regarded as the 2nd best team in the state behind only Naperville Central. One of the reasons why the Celtics have been so successful this year on the ground, Louis Medina. He's a halfback. He's got a great fullback back in the backfield with him, but Medina over 2,000 yards rushing this year.
And 30 touchdowns, and that's significant. If Providence is going to score, they're going to do it on the ground. They also have a great fullback that complements Louis Medina and Kyle Stalter.
Medina and Stalter and the rest of the Providence offensive line may be facing their biggest physical challenge in this game. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, their 2 tackles on defense are absolutely huge. Matt Mitrione is the biggest of the 2. He's a solid Division I prospect, and Providence's coach told me this guy's 272. He's just cut. This guy can flat play the game.
Well, he's 6'4", 272. They promote him as a Division I player, and the biggest thing is he's a nose guard, and that disrupts everything. And if you take Woody Hayes' advice, you always double team the nose, and it doesn't make any difference how big he is.
And there's a great subplot to this game tonight. Phil Bruni of Sacred Heart Griffin needs 1 interception to tie the state record. Ironically, it's a state record that is held by Al Lekomskis, who used to play for Providence High School. As a matter of fact, Phil Bruni is so good that many opposing coaches make definitely aware of where he's at when they line up on offense.
Well, he's another Division I prospect, 6'3", 190, and he just made the all-state team for some time. So you're looking at some real bona fide players, and you know, they're from Springfield. They don't see a lot of Chicago press, but I tell you what, look out for them because they're a good football team.
Sacred Heart Griffin had a great team last year. They felt they should have won the state title 1 year ago. They lost in the semifinals. They have a chance to rectify that tonight as they take on Providence Catholic in tonight's Class 4A championship game. Let's now go down to the field to Dave Southwell.
It is a very, very chilly night here. The wind is picking up. It's definitely going to favor Providence. Providence, very, very good on the ground. Kyle Stalter can get you the tough yards over the middle. Last year, he blocked Joey Schlade to 2,000 yards nearly, and Medina's already over 2,000 here. Sacred Heart's got a little more balance, but it's going to be hard to put the ball up tonight. And another big intangible here for Providence. They won here last year. They've had the big game experience, and they've won against Belleville-Altoff right here on this field earlier this year. They're used to the turf. They're used to the situation. Big, big advantage for Providence here. Let's go back up to the booth to Jim.
All right, Dave. And as we get ready for the kickoff in this game, one of the big factors very well may be who has the wind at what time of the game and what they're able to do with it, because when we were standing down the field at the end of the 3A game, Bill, it's chilly and the wind is really moving. The wind chill has got to be getting down around 10. It may even press into single digits by the end of the night.
Well, we've mentioned this before at other games. It's like a wind tunnel down there. You have no stadium of any sort on each side, and the wind just really whips down. So anybody that has to kick, if you get the ball up too high, it's going to come back in your face.
Let's go to the PA announcer and get the opening lineups for tonight's 4A championship game.
At left end, number 90, Pete Smith. At left tackle, number 75, Mike Lyons. At right tackle, number 52, Matt Mitrione. At right end, number 62, Brian Kapranica. At linebacker, number 1, J.C. Clark. At linebacker, number 56, Todd Schnellner. At linebacker number 43, Jeremy Minder. At defensive back, number 3, Phil Pearson. At defensive back, number 38, Brad Swoboda. At defensive back, number 24, Eric Wells. And at safety, number 8, Bill Bruni. Those are the Cyclones of Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin. And now introducing the starting offensive lineup for New Lenox Providence. Here is the head coach, Matt Seffner. At tight end, number 21, Dan Joyce. At left tackle, number 72, Kyle Johnson. At left guard, number 58, Jeff Howlett. At center, number 61, Tim Tehan. At right guard, number 56, Dan Redican. At right tackle, number 74, Dan Kettler. At split end, number 2, Sean Lucas. At quarterback, number 10, Robert Cruz. At tailback, number 22, Louis Medina. At flankerback, number 11, Anthony Carley. And at fullback, number 44, Kyle Stalter. Those are the Celtics of New Lenox Providence Catholic High School.
Providence Catholic High School trying to defend the state title that they won last year, although they are in a different class, as Bill mentioned right off the top. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin won the toss. They've deferred their choice, so Providence will get the first crack at it, Bill.
Well, and Matt Senfer, you know, he wants to go right for it right now. He feels he has a great offense. He's got a great tailback in Louis Medina and an outstanding fullback in Kyle Stalter, who really has come on in the last 5-6 games. I mean, I'm sure he's always been a good football player, but he's really started to warm up to the fact that he's as good a player as Louis.
The weather, it's brisk, and it is a little bit breezy as you see the flag. 30 degrees, the wind chill is down around 10 degrees, and no precipitation in the forecast. Let's take a look at the officials for tonight's game. Those will be making all the calls, and Richard Dietz will lead his crew into this game. The officiating has been marvelous, as always, in these state championship games. And don't forget, it's playoffs for them as well. You've got the best of the best, same as you with the players. And not that it matters, because you don't really have a home team here, but the first 3 games we have seen here today, the home team has won each one of them. And the home team in this game is Providence Catholic.
You know, one of the things that's been said and said over and over and over again is that Providence coming in here is really rated as the team to win, and that it's almost been conceded that they're going to win the championship. I want to see how Sacred Heart Griffin reacts to that.
You are looking at Ryan Wells. He is the kicker for Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin. He also happens to be the quarterback. You'll be seeing a lot of him tonight. The wind is at the backs of the Cyclones, appropriately enough, here in the first quarter. Wells kicks, and we are underway. Ball taken at about the 12-yard line. And not much doing, a return of about 5 yards. Springfield Sacred Heart there with a good job covering the kickoff return. Khalid Tillman was on the return. So Providence will open up 1st and 10 with the ball inside their own 20-yard line. Ball is on the 17 as Providence will make their first crack at offense. Stalter is number 44. Medina is number 22. Medina gets the first carry. He goes around the right end, picks up good yardage. Got that forward lean going and leans his way all the way out to the 25-yard line. And that will bring up second down. This is just all lean, Bill.
Well, that's exactly right. He went through that line, and that's all he did. We get a chance to take a look at that, and he's just leaning and knocking people out of the way. And actually, Griffin had him for a loss, and just on the lean alone, he made 5 additional yards.
So now it will be second down and 3 from the 24. And the handoff goes to Stalter. He did not get the first down. As a matter of fact, he only picked up about a yard, and Matt Mitrione, who you'll be seeing a lot of, mainly because he's a big guy and takes up a lot of room, making the tackle on the play.
And with the kind of defense that Springfield Griffin plays, it's a 50 defense, and the nose guard and the 2 linebackers are the people that you're going to see that are most active. And Mitrione at 272, he's a load.
3rd and 2 for Robert Cruz and his Providence teammates. It does not look like Medina got the first down. It appears the Cyclones have held on their first defensive series.
You know, the kickoff to me was a signal about Sacred Heart, and we'll get back to that in a minute. Here's the stop, and Mitrione is right in the middle of all of that, and he just clogged up the works.
That will bring up 4th down.
This is a sight that I'm sure Providence hasn't had to do quite often, and that's punt the football.
Bill Scholl is in the punt and gets off a pretty good kick for booting it into the wind. Fair catch called for. Tillman takes the ball at his own 49-yard line. Check that. That was Brad Swoboda on the return. 25-yard punt. No return after the fair catch, but if you've got the wind at your back, you might as well fair catch it because you're going to get good field position anyway. Let's take a look at the road to the state title game after this first offensive. Well, there's the Providence road to, and you see they piled up the points, and they haven't given up very many. There's the synopsis. Ryan Wells, the quarterback for Springfield Griffin, pitches it back in the I formation. Eric Wells, his twin brother, just keeps on churning and takes the ball down to about the 46-yard line before he's hauled down by Chris Janik. Let's take a look at how Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin got here. They beat 2 of their Springfield compatriots in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then a winner in the semifinals last week, 20-8 over Metamora.
That tandem that we're watching, the quarterback Wells to Wells, they're identical twins.
And it will be Wells to Wells again, and the pile moving forward. Wells is underneath it. He ends up getting a pretty good gain on the play. Ball will be spotted down near the 41-yard line. That is going to be very close to a first down.
We'll just see how close it is right here. It's just a straight handoff straight ahead, and Eric Wells just going straight ahead, trying to find any kind of a seam to be able to try and get the first down, which he did.
So a new set of downs. The chains move for Sacred Heart Griffin, and of course, if you're an underdog in a game, whether it's warranted or not, you certainly want to do well in your first offensive series, where Providence could not pick up a first down when they had the ball. Springfield, Sacred Heart Griffin, has had no problem. Wells is the lone setback. He takes the draw play handoff from his brother, and he's snowed under by 4 green shirts from Providence.
He was lined up in the eye at least 7.5 yards. He came up 7.5 yards and then turned it off, and you'll see the reverse out, the handoff, and he slowed down. He slowed down when he came to the line of scrimmage. And of course, the fact that you had a lot of green jerseys there helped.
There was nowhere to go.
But Dominic Pasolino was the one that was in on the play.
Loss of 2 yards on the play. Little option action from Wells. He pitches it back to his brother and leaves it on the turf. But it looked like the Cyclones got the ball back, but it's all the way back at their own 48-yard line. Falling on the football was number 90, the right end, Pete Smith.
We'll have an opportunity to look right here, and you people at home can see it's a bad relationship for the pitch. The quarterback and the tailback are much too close. They were at least a yard apart, and you could have handed the ball off as opposed to pitching the ball. And then, of course, you had Pete Smith, who came in and made the tackle for Providence.
3rd down, 20. So Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, after picking up a first down, going, airs it out, goes downfield, had his man open. Brad Swoboda couldn't hang on.
And that was a wind-aided pass. That ball was really up in the air, and we'll get an opportunity to at least see. He sprints out, at least a 7-step drop, and the ball's not thrown particularly well, but it certainly stays up in the air for a long time, and boom, right off his hands.
Wells is the place, Ryan Wells, I should say, is the place kicker. He's the quarterback. He's also the punter. He stands at his own 35-yard line.
And a good one at that, Jim. He averages about 34 yards.
The pressure came in pretty well. It almost got to him. Fair catch called for. Back at the 20-yard line, it was tracked down by Tony Carley. Carley will stay in the game as a starting end. Punt 31 yards, and once again, no return. So a loss of 6 yards on the punts by Providence, but that's about to be expected with the way the wind is blowing down there.
It's a little bit like a heavyweight boxing match. It's two people kind of feeling each other out, and of course letting the defenses do most of the work. And it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see field position play a big role in this football game.
Medina shifts into the eye. And Medina will take the handoff, trying to go around the right end. Did a good job of avoiding the first tackler, and is finally brought down, but not after he had crossed the 25-yard line and picked up nearly 5 yards.
You know, it's early in the game, Jim, but we'll get an opportunity to watch the kind of foot speed that Springfield Griffin has. I don't think Providence has seen a football team quite as quick, and you saw at least 8 people that had a shot at Louis Medina. Now, if they can catch him on an initial hit, Providence is going to have a tough time offensively running against this football team.
On 2nd and 5, Medina gets the carry again. Check that, Stalter got the carry. He was the first man through. We may have been fooled momentarily, but the Cyclones weren't.
And Todd Schellner was in on the play, and he's the leading tackler for Sacred Heart Griffin.
That will bring up 3rd down and 5 after no gain. Looks like Providence is having a little bit of a hard time really getting going and being in sync on offense here in the early going, but it is early. There's a long way to go. Cruz has yet to put one in the air, and he elects not to do so here. And the ball looked like it might have popped free for just a second. No indication of a change of possession. Kapranica and Schneller in on the stop for the Cyclones. So once again, Providence unable to get a sustained drive going, and the Celtics will have to put it away.
Well, you'll see Todd Schnellner, who's number 56, and he's a linebacker, 6'1", 185, and he comes in and finishes everything off. And as I mentioned earlier, he's a leading tackler. He's got 5 interceptions, a good, tough football player, and they're going to punt into the wind at this point.
Bill Schultz back to punt, and Brad Swoboda back to receive the kick. That one gets hung up in the wind. Fair catch called for again. Good hands by Swoboda on that one. The Cyclones will take over on the 49-yard line of Providence when we come back after this timeout. No score as of yet. A good night to have a warm blanket here at Hancock Stadium. No score. Sacred Heart Griffin and Providence. Sacred Heart Griffin with the ball for the 2nd time in this game. And they have the ball in Providence territory at the 49-yard line. Like two fighters just kind of feeling each other out right now. Ryan Wells will roll out and look to throw. He goes downfield with the wind and running by everybody, but not able to hang on to the ball is number 38, Brad Swoboda. 2nd time he's been open down the sideline, and Swoboda has found something, because both times, Bill, he's been able to run by the secondary.
Well, Wells rolled out, and Swoboda gets behind the defender, and he just drops the ball. And that's the 2nd time that he's been wide open, and we'll get a better view. That ball's right in his hands. It's right in his hands. It couldn't be thrown any better than that. 2
great throws by Ryan Wells so far, but no points as of yet on the board. Handoff goes to Eric Wells. He will lose yardage on the play. Tackle on the play made by Brian Parker. The broadcast rights to tonight's game have been granted to Sports Channel by the Illinois High School Association. Any rebroadcast of this event without the written consent of the IHSA and Sports Channel is strictly prohibited.
And now you got 3rd and 12, and now they're going to have to throw the ball up again. And of course, when you're playing defense and you're a good defensive football team, you like to predict what the offense is going to have to do, because then you can play accordingly, and certainly puts the defense at an advantage.
Swoboda is wide left, Gripper is wide right, but the ball's right down the middle of the field. J.C. Clark wide open, He has a first down for the Cyclones down at the 26-yard line of the Providence Celtics.
And J.C. Clark really isn't one of the top receivers. Again, he sprints out, gets out to the tackle box, and just rears back and throws the ball. And of course, it's to the tight end, J.C. Clark, who's about 6'3", 200 pounds, and makes a nice catch.
First pass completion of the game for Sacred Heart Griffin.
And 2 almost.
Eric Wells doesn't get very far. Bill Grogan up to make the stop.
One of the things that Springfield Griffin's doing, that they're running a double tight. By that I mean they're running 2 tight ends, and they're balancing up the defense, and they know exactly where Providence is going to be, so they can use both the run and pass and do a good job at it. And you like to do that because you don't know whether Providence is going to blitz, and they're not really a big blitzing, gambling defense.
2nd and 9. And our first penalty flag of the game.
Penalty flags go down before the snap.
And after the discussion, we'll get the call.
Dead ball foul, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, will be for down.
Providence jumped, one of the linebackers jumped, and we might have the opportunity to view it. There was a little movement
against Sacred Heart Griffin for illegal procedure.
And the movement was such that the penalty went against the offense, but it was movement really by the defense. They tried to jump into the gap, and when that happened, the right guard for Springfield Griffin moved.
That will bring up 2nd down, 14. Little razzle-dazzle on the reverse. Swoboda, who averages 7 yards a carry, doesn't get a chance to even get close to positive yardage. He lost 5 on the play. Brian Parker smelled that out and made a nice defensive play.
Well, here's the toss. Looks like a toss sweep, and then the handoff on the outside, and Swoboda turns it out, or tries to turn it out, turns it up inside, and he's brought down by Brett Walsh, number 25 defensive back for the Providence Celtics.
Look at all the containment in there for Providence. They were not fooled in that play at all. So now it's 3rd down, 19 from the 35-yard line. Ryan Wells sets up the throw, puts it downfield. Nobody there. The closest man to the play was number 33 for Providence, Khalid Tillman.
Well, I believe that there was a misread on the tight end's part. He was supposed to go for the post, and he really got down to about the 20-yard line and never made that cut, Jim.
The rushing yardage has not been there. -6 for Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin now. Here we go with a kick attempt by Ryan Wells. It's going to be a 52-yard field goal attempt. He has the wind at his back. Providence doesn't necessarily look like they're buying it, though, but you might as well give them a shot. Just under the crossbar. Why not?
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to punt the ball, or you're going to kick the field goal. And with the wind like that, and with the tunnel that we've talked about, there's certainly going to be opportunity to be able to do that. He's within another 10 yards, and that ball goes through. We'll have the opportunity to really take a look at it. He gets his foot into it, but the ball comes down just right in front of the goalpost. He certainly has enough height at the point that we're looking at, and then it falls down below the goalpost.
He had that thing hunting, as they like to say in golf. We will see a kicker tomorrow for Maine South, Brian Schmitz, who is probably the best kicker in the state. And he's within range, and if he has a wind at his back tomorrow, we could see some long field goal attempts. But back to the matter at hand, Providence and Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, no score. Providence back on offense. Completion to Dan Joyce, and he picks up good yardage all the way out to the 40-yard line. Phil Pearson making the stop.
And Dan Joyce, the tight end at 6'6", 208. Now, Cruz rolls out and gets the ball. Now, you look at, normally you would think a number 80 would have the ball, but Joyce is, you know, he kind of looks at himself as being a flanker rather than a tight end.
First good gain, and the march down the field starting a bit for Providence here. The handoff goes to Stalter, and he's immediately met at the line of scrimmage, although he will pick up a couple of yards just based on hard work.
Well, and that's a fullback's job, Jim. You never figure that a fullback is going to break it off and go for 20 or 30 yards. If he can get 2 or 3 yards every time he carries the ball, then he's doing his job. And if he can protect that tailback in the I formation, you've got a successful tandem.
Fullback who had some great games here with Joliet Catholic, Mike Allstott, playing one of his final games for Purdue today. Watch that on the TV before coming out here for the 2A game. So fullbacks have had some big games here at Hancock Stadium. Cruz is in trouble. He'll go down back at the 38-yard line. The tackle on the play made by number 56, Todd Schneller.
Coming into this ball game, the coach from Springfield, Griffin, felt like if he could force Providence to throw the ball, that this is kind of thing, the situation that you'd create. They're not accustomed to throwing the ball very much, and then when they do, it's play action. And we saw a good picture there of Robert Cruz not being able to throw the football and get it off, and he's throwing for a loss.
Lucas and Carley come out to the right. Now Carley goes in motion on 3rd down and 12. Cruz is just going to swing it out to Staltry. Needs some blocks. Block in the back. This is going to come back. The penalty flag is on number 74, Dan Ketlar. He really didn't want to block J.C. Clark in the back, and it looked like he really wasn't sure what to do. He blocked him anyway, and the flag was immediately thrown.
You know, in this early going, Jim, one of the things that I was concerned about was how Springfield Griffin would play up front. We came into this game, they're averaging, the linemen, defensive linemen, 236 pounds. And right now, they have controlled the line of scrimmage against Providence.
We have clipping, offense, repeat the down.
It's going to be on the left side of your screen. Watch right after the reception. Right there, watch number 1. No, wait, it's going to, watch him turn around. Right there.
There it is, and he pushed him. He really didn't clip him. He pushed him, but that's still not what you're supposed to do, and you get a penalty on it. Now you see the finish of the run.
Yeah.
There it is right there. He just pushed him with his hands.
So the ball is all the way back to the 19-yard line. 3rd down, 31. And Providence, you would imagine, is going to be very careful here. That's exactly what they do. Medina gets the carry. He'll take it out to about the 28-yard line. So in this defensive struggle, the ball will once again go over to Sacred Heart Griffin. Pete Smith and Mike Lyons, among others, there on the tackles.
Well, so far in the first quarter, this game is really shown the promise that you and I had talked about and hoped about to be able to see.
Interesting thing just happened right here. Sacred Heart Griffin takes a timeout, and the reason why is because if they don't take the timeout, the quarter runs out. Providence flips around and punts with the wind.
Yep. And that's the kind of strategy you have to be able to be aware of when you're down on that field, because you definitely want them to kick the ball up into the air.
The punts in this quarter for Providence, one was 25 yards, the other was 20. It's 22 and a half yards a kick.
You must have got good grades in math at Bloom.
My mother was a math teacher.
Well,
She'd be very upset if I missed that.
You got a lot of tutoring.
Yeah, it came in real handy, believe me. It really did.
Well, just so you don't have to do that geometry on the field, A is to B, is C is to D.
Yeah, those proofs were a little rough once I got to high school, but eventually I stayed with them and got them. Time to punt now. 31 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Still no score in the game. Swoboda is standing at the Providence 44-yard line awaiting the kick. Outside rush and a little stun on the kick, and this is a pretty good kick. Swoboda is going to let it drop, and it gets a mini Providence roll, and they're content to pick it up. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin will open up on offense at their own 45-yard line. They had very good field position for Ken Leonard in this game so far. That was a 32-yard punt that time, so a really good job by Bill Schultz of getting off a pretty good punt into the wind.
Actually, this is the deepest that Springfield Griffin has been in their own territory all night.
Now, the wind comes into play here because you've got first down, 23 seconds left. You're going to get a couple of plays of the wind. Do they try and air it out right here?
Absolutely.
Wells drops back to pass. He's going down the sideline. He's got Swoboda open again. This time he makes the catch. He's down inside the 15-yard line.
And that's the exact same pass pattern that he has dropped the ball on 2 other occasions. He was not going to drop it. He was not going to be denied. It's just he rolls out, to the tackle box. He knew exactly who he was throwing to. There wasn't any question that he was going to have this receiver or that receiver, and Svoboda just ran straight down the field and makes a great catch.
A 41-yard pass completion down to the Providence 14-yard line, and now Sacred Heart Griffin staging the first real threat to score in this game. But if they are to score, they'll have to flip around and do it on the other end of the field. We have come to the end of the first quarter of the 4A championship game. No score, but the Cyclones are threatening. Along with Bill Gorley, I'm Jim Blaney. This is the 4A state championship game. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin and Providence Catholic all tied up at 0-0, but the Cyclones are threatening. They have the ball on the 14-yard line of Providence. Sacred Heart Griffin, 41 of those 60 passing yards coming on the previous play that set them up. Eric Wells takes it down to the 10-yard line.
Well, there's some great blocking on Springfield Griffin's part. We'll have the opportunity. He reverses out, pitch sweep. There's the fullback. Oh my, what a block. And then Eric Wells is able to turn it in. And of course, the fullback that we're looking at for Sacred Heart is Christian Griffer. What a great hit to be able to get Eric Wells outside.
What a great name.
Win one for the Gripper.
Also lining up in the backfield, Matt Mitrione, number 52. He gets the block at the point of attack. Wells follows through the hole, maybe picked up a yard. It's going to be third down. Dominic Pasolano making the stop for the Celtics.
Well, he just went into a power formation, and Mitrione is no different than any other fullback. He's just a little wider, that's all.
Which is becoming something you see at almost any level of football now. You've got a big, agile offensive lineman, toss him in the backfield.
Well, you know, the fridge made that popular, but you know what? People have done that years before that. It's just
what did you tell me earlier today? There's nothing new in football,
right? That's exactly right.
Third down. Ryan Wells is rolling out. He's trying to get the first down on his own. He will not get there. Steve Withers drove him out of bounds. It looks like just a couple of feet shy of a first down.
Now, what you have to remember is Providence is only giving up 6 points a game. Now, here's the fake to the inside, fake to the tailback, and he comes out. He's got a cortege of people leading him, and he cannot turn it up because you've got Steve Withers, who comes up from the inside and makes a tackle and knocks him out of bounds. Now you got a little extracurricular activity.
Yeah, what a great job by Mike Lyons, number 75, the pulling guard. That was just beautiful. If you love traps and pulls, that's the kind of offense you like to see.
Well, and you've got your action going to the right, and then you pull two people, two linemen, and you're going to your left, and you've got the quarterback just going, and you know, people that are in the defensive halfback position, they don't know if he's going to try and throw the ball or not. That was a run all the way. Dead ball foul, Jim.
Offense, fourth down.
Wow.
That's a big one.
Might have thought they would have been offsetting because it certainly looked like there was a little give and take, but it takes the ball all the way back to the 20-yard line for the Cyclones.
But you know, anytime that happens, and you know this after doing all kinds of athletic activities, the last guy that does it gets...
Bill, you know it from being a kid. If you had a brother.
That's exactly right.
Fourth down, they'll go for it. 4th and 15. Wells sets up quickly, throws it inside, or throws it outside, I should say. Bill Bruni cut inside, and the pass was well over his head. So the best offensive threat of the game goes for naught for the Cyclones.
And that was just a misread, whether it was on the receiver or whether it was on the quarterback. Nevertheless, you'll see it. Obviously, the quarterback, Ryan Wells, thought that Bruni was going to go to the outside, and Bruni went to the inside. So, obviously, you have a little miscommunications there, and now you're going to wind it back up and play defense, and Providence got to get the ball out of the hole.
And Sacred Heart Griffin has a penalty, cost them a shot at points. Now, 1st and 10 from the 20 for Providence. Medina will get the carry. Medina had room, and he was met coming up from his linebacker spot, Joe Kinsler.
Boy, and he really put a hit on him. Watch this hit. Here's the handoff at the tackle box, and actually Cruz had to extend himself to give it to Medina, and there's the hit. Oh, that's a classic. Did he get walloped or what?
Well, let's not forget that it was a 4-yard gain in the carry, and that will bring up 2nd and 6 from the 24. So it was a big hit, but still a pretty good gain. Cruz wants to throw, throws it, and a beautiful catch made by Stalter coming out of the backfield. He will have the first down and more. He'll be down at about the 37-yard line. Jeremy Minder and Joe Kinsler coming up and making the tackle.
Now, this is the second game we've done, and this is at least the 7th or 8th pass that we have seen where fullbacks are now in the flat, and you get the opportunity right there. Again, Providence does not throw the ball well, and they're looking for different receivers and to do things that they haven't done before that people are not expecting. And of course, your fullback in the flat is a great pass.
1st and 10 from the 36. Handoff will go to Medina. Medina's into the secondary. He's got room, but he could not get away from Eric Wells, who came up and made the stick. But again, good yardage for Medina. This time he's going to pick up 8 on the play. It will bring up 2nd down and 2.
Now you're going to see a little trap. It's just an inside trap off the, and Medina reads it real well. The trap was actually one hole out, but Medina read it on the inside and then turned it back up.
Good job of tackling deep in the formation for Sacred Heart Griffin. The bad news is these guys are getting that far into the formation. Cruz is back to throw on 2nd and short. Has his man over the middle. Medina was there. It was broken up by Bruni. And I'll tell you something. Bruni could have had the interception there. He decided really to kind of play the man and the ball. But if he had looked up, he might have had his record-tying interception. Watch this.
There's Cruz throwing the ball right down the middle. He's got him wide open, and right at the last minute, Bruni comes in and knocks that ball down.
But a great play because he made sure the ball was knocked down.
That's right. He pushed the ball down, not up.
3rd down 2. Medina gets the carry. He will lean forward and get the first down at the 46-yard line.
You know, when people try to describe the kind of running back that Medina is, he's a leaner. He's always going forward. He's not a punishing runner. He's not a slasher, but he's a leaner. And he gets at least 2 or 3 yards every time he runs the football because of the way he leans.
Referee's timeout. Let's go down to the sidelines to Dave Southwell.
Yeah, there's 2 factors playing true to form out here tonight. Providence's first-string defense has allowed no touchdowns in the playoffs and only 4 touchdowns on the season. They're bending, but they're not breaking when they get down to the red zone. And secondly, they're not getting any yardage on the ground here. Medina's having a real tough time because they're running into a defense that allows just 63 yards a game rushing throughout the season. It looks like it's going to be a tough-fought game going down to the wire here on a cold, windy night.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you something. Dave deserves something for that. He's talking dead into the wind. And if you've ever tried to talk facing into the wind on a cold night, it's one of the most difficult things you can do as a broadcaster. Stalter gets the carry. He'll take it in to Sacred Heart Griffin territory. That old thing where the wind takes your breath away. Jeremy Minder and Joe Kinsler making the tackle.
Again, you've got 2 people pulling, trying to go inside. And again, you see the lean by the fullback, both the backs, the tailback and the fullback. Staltner leaning forward, getting 2 and 3 yards at a crack.
2nd down, 4 to go from the 48. Whoops. The right tackle in the formation just made that little bunny hop right before the snap of the ball, and it's going to cost Providence 5. So, not to the extent in the last drive, but maybe a penalty hurting Providence in their chance here.
Dead ball, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
Dan Kettler, number 74, was getting on one of the linemen for not being a little bit more disciplined in terms of sitting still, even though that Springfield Griffin is moving around a little bit. Sacred Heart Griffin, I should say, because they are from Springfield, but they're moving around a little bit on defense, and it's a little disconcerting to an offensive lineman when you see that movement.
Makes it 2nd and 10. Medina gets the carry, has plenty of blocking. Flag goes down on the play as Medina will take the ball down to about the 47-yard line, but let's check the flag.
You know, Jim, I've gotten away from ever trying to outguess an official because every time you do it, you're not right.
Illegal motion on the Providence offense, so that will back them up 5 more.
And basically what that means is a back did not set for the full time before the ball was snapped. Matt Senford there, I'm sure, getting a little nervous about his offense.
You're looking at Kyle Johnson, one of the offensive linemen for Providence, 6 foot, 285.
I think there's a little bit of that 85 sticking out in front there. Oh, he's a biggie.
He is a big, big kid. Well, you look across the offensive line for Providence, 285, 221, 243, 218, 235. It's a pretty healthy group. You certainly don't want to have to be picking up the tab on the post-game meal for that group.
And those guys eat with 2 hands.
They put all-you-can-eat places out of business. 2nd down, 15 now. Cruz is going to roll out. Decides to keep it and is picking up good yardage. Makes a spin move inside. Took a shot as he went down at the 44-yard line. Bill Bruni made him pay the price for turning it inside rather than dancing out of bounds.
He fakes it to Louis Medina and just comes out. There's no question. He's not about to throw this football.
No way.
It's just a bootleg run by the quarterback. And, of course, they fooled Springfield Griffin. And there's a hit, a late one, too.
And Bruni made a good tackle on the play, because certainly it seemed as though the Cyclone defenders were expecting Cruz to just go out of bounds. And he turned it up and got a couple more yards, but he took a big shot in the process. Close enough for a measurement. And he is going to be about a nose of a ball short. Well, they give him the 1st down. It's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, you know, all the accolades.
Never second guess, right?
Right. All the accolades that Bill Bruni has received certainly are well registered at this point. He's made some really nice plays.
And so what was a long yardage situation was turned into a 1st down. Bill Bruni, once again, 1 interception. He ties the state record for interceptions in 1 season.
Not a particularly good team to try and do it against. Bill doesn't really like to throw the football, although they've been throwing a little bit more tonight.
And Providence starting to pile up the rushing yards. They have it 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Medina has room around the right side. Medina trying to go outside. Had the ball knocked away. What a great defensive play by Pete Smith. He was going to strip the ball all the way, and it's recovered by Sacred Heart Griffin. That was Pete Smith all the way. His full intention was to knock the ball free.
You know, how many times the high school kids watch the pros, and you'll see it right here where Medina gets a nice run. He's on the outside. He turns it back outside, and there's Smith coming from behind, and he knew what he was doing right now. From behind, he was stripping the football, and
he got the as well.
Exactly. He was on his back and just rolled over, and there's the football.
He obviously saw Barry Sanders late in the game yesterday when Barry Sanders had it stripped away. Option pass. Bruni's going to throw. Swoboda open downfield. Tipped and caught. Swoboda is now in a race to the end zone. He will get there. Sacred Heart Griffin leads 6-0. 63 yards on the option pass from Bruni to Swoboda.
And again, Swoboda certainly has made up for those problems that he created the first part of the game. Now, how many tips did we saw? We saw, what, 3 tips in the first game, and now we saw another one. It looks like people are playing volleyball here.
Pete Smith knocks the ball free and recovers it. Then, on the option pass, Bruni to Swoboda, and it's 6-0 in favor of the Cyclones.
And this is the quota that Providence gives up per game, 6 points per game. Not in just the first half either, 6 per game.
Brian Wells in to attempt the extra point. 7-0 Sacred Heart. What a wild turnaround. 2 big plays for Sacred Heart Griffin. They lead 7-0 with a little bit less than 7 minutes left to go here in the 2nd quarter. Sacred Heart Griffin leading 7-0 after the opening score of the game, and Ken Leonard's team kind of returning to their roots. They were known as a passing team for a lot of years, and then Ken Leonard, after some shortened trips into the state playoffs, kind of looked around at who was going to the state playoffs and who was winning titles, found out they were running teams that mixed the pass in as well, changed up his offense, but the razzle-dazzle on the touchdown play, going for the touchdown. So going back in the playbook a few years, and it certainly worked.
Well, playing 13 games, you're coming into this football game with having only thrown the ball 106 times. So he hasn't really gone pass happy, but certainly has been effective today.
Wells, Ryan Wells, that is, to kick off. Nice job by one of the upmen of fielding the kick, and then a big hit laid on at the 32-yard line, and the Sacred Heart Griffin guys are saying they have the ball again.
I don't think that's true, though.
the Providence offense coming out onto the field. So Providence will open up 1st and 10 from their 32. Here's the fumble first of all, and once again, watch Pete Smith. It's a big play, and this was totally his intention, was to knock the ball free. The bonus is he recovers the football. Now notice Bill Bruni is in the picture. Well, the touchdown play, Bruni was there as well. We'll take a look at that again in a second. But here's the first down play for Providence. And Robert Medina, or excuse me, Louis Medina, with a chance to run it up the middle, picks up yardage all the way to the 41. And now here's the reverse on the play.
Yeah, Jim, we'll get a good angle on this tip. The ball is tipped up in the air. Walsh tips it up, and Svoboda just has enough presence of mind to turn around, and the ball sat on the top of his shoulder pad, and he goes in for a touchdown. What a great play. And of course, he made amends for the 2 touchdowns that he missed.
Now Providence has 2nd and 2, and just a little hitch in the offensive line has drawn a flag. Let's see if the officials saw the same thing that we did.
Dead ball, false start, offense, repeat the down.
Providence just killing themselves with penalties in the last 2 drives.
Well, you have to wonder about their confidence level. This is not the way they normally play, and obviously Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin has disrupted the kind of things that Providence likes to do. They like to have long drives. They like to keep the ball away from people, and they haven't been able to do that all evening.
On 2nd down and 7, Medina with the carry. He is going to be out across the 42-yard line. It appears he has a Providence first down. Let's go down to the sidelines to Dave Southwell.
Hi, I'm here with Illinois Coaching Association Hall of Famer Jim Righeimer. Had coached at Mendel back in the days with Lou Guida was his line coach. And his connection today is Dan Redican, the left guard for Providence Catholic, 2-year starter, is his grandnephew. Jim, tell me a little bit about what Dan Redican was like as a child.
Well, Danny always liked football. He'd go over to Grandpa George's house in the basement Christmas time. We'd have a big party, and he'd always put on his football pads and his helmet and say, "Uncle Jim, how do I look?" So football was in his blood when he was a very young man. His younger brother, Brian, plays defensive back for Providence.
And every Christmas, he'd be having his helmet on and running into the big Riggo right here. Guys, we'll take it back up to you. Let's hope that Dan can get the ball rolling here, Jim.
I certainly hope so.
Back to you, Jim.
2nd down and short now for Providence. One of our directors at Sports Channel, Jim Angio, who directs the Bulls, the White Sox, played football at Mendel. And I saw a Mendel letter jacket down on the sideline. It looked fairly new. I was kind of wondering what was up with that.
It's no longer called Mendel.
Dead ball.
Used to be Pullman Tech.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
And again, Providence a little anxious on the offensive line. They'll be tacked with a 5-yard penalty.
5-yard penalty against Providence. Ball goes back to the
I should say Jim
46-yard
Angio,
line.
one of the former Mendel greats.
2nd down and 6.
4:37 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Providence has the ball in their own half of the field on the 46-yard line. They've got 2nd and 6. Stalter carries the ball across midfield. One of the Cyclone defenders a little slow to get up. J.C. Clark does get up. They'll go back to the huddle. Mike Albrecht coming in and making the stop.
You know, Louis Medina has gotten, and Kyle Salter have, between the two of them, have gotten over 3,000 yards. And it's not because they're the greatest backs. They're certainly good backs. But you've got Kyle Johnson, a tackle. You've got Jeff Hollett, a guard. You've got Dan Kettler. Those are the people that are making the holes up front for both the fullback and for the tailback, Louis Medina.
Tim Tehan, the center, was looking over the Sacred Heart Griffin defense and trying to grab the ball at the same time, and he nudged it a little forward. So the officials will come back in and reset everything. 3rd down, 1 to go for Providence.
You think I wouldn't be nervous as I was Tim Tehan having to look across from that Mitrione at 272?
And Lions at 255. Handoff to Medina. He'll have the first down and more. Medina is into the Sacred Heart backfield. He's finally hauled down inside the 30-yard line. Coming back to make the tackle were Bruni and Phil Pearson.
He breaks through that line so quickly. He has really got a quick start. He's a leaner, as we mentioned before, and he just keeps going. He's always got his head up looking for more places to run the football.
20 yards on the game.
And Phil Pearson and Bill Bruni bring him down and save for a touchdown.
Right, 3:32 remaining in the second quarter. Medina picks his hole, finds one he likes, and he'll have good yardage down inside the 25-yard line, nearly down to the 22. Kapranica making the stop for Sacred Heart Griffin.
You know, we mentioned the fact that he's a leaner, but he's really got great feet. His feet are constantly moving. They never stop, and that's why he looks like he's got the leaners, because those feet are going all the time. And then you have to look at the way his head is. It's always looking straight ahead to find another spot to run the football.
And he's very quick through the hole, except for that time. What a great defensive play.
He slipped.
As Mitrione came up from his defensive line position to make the stop.
We'll have the opportunity to watch this right now, and you can watch it at home. There's his foot right there.
Yeah.
He just came out from under him, and of course Mitrione had already penetrated, so he just was able to finish Medina off.
Clock becoming somewhat of a factor here. 2:33 remaining in the second quarter. 3rd and 6 from the 24. Cruz didn't fool Smith, but got away from him. Flag down to the play. Also down is Cruz at about the 25-yard line. Schneller making the stop.
It looked like it might be an inadvertent face mask. He
Which
reached
would-
out.
Which would be the 5-yard variety.
Preliminary signal is face mask penalty.
We'll have the opportunity to see it. It's right there. He definitely had the mask. There's no question about it. And he let go of it, obviously. When you're out in the open, everybody and your aunt can see it. And they get the 5-yard variety, and here they're going in with 2 minutes and 21 seconds with an opportunity to get back into this football game as far as Providence is concerned.
Pete Smith has had some kind of first half here, in spite of the penalty.
Face mask, defense, half the distance to the goal, first down.
I think you have to be impressed with Jim. He's 6'3", 214 pounds. And they're extremely quick. Springfield Griffin, not having seen any films, they really impressed me this first half of the football game.
The penalties have been more important for where they've come, not necessarily that there have been so many. Cruz back to throw, puts it into the end zone, really had it kind of up for grabs. Touchdown for Providence.
Well, he just threw that and let him run underneath it. What a great play. You know, for a guy that doesn't throw a lot of passes, he certainly had a fine touch on the ball.
Ed Olsta, the 5'9" junior, making the reception, just running underneath the Cruz, just throwing it back into the corner of the end zone and letting his man go get it on the 17-yard touchdown play.
It was a 3-step drop. He just dropped it and just threw it up underneath and let the receiver go underneath it. It's a great play.
Schuld in to attempt the extra point that would tie up the contest, and that's about as true as you can get it. We are knotted up at 7-7. 2:14 remaining in the second quarter.
Jim, let's take a look at this replay of the touchdown. Medina, not known as a great thrower and really a play-action type passer, actually puts a real touch on it, and the receiver just falls right underneath it. And, it's a great play. I'm impressed with the way he threw that.
Let's take another look at it. I want you to watch the block that is made by Kyle Stalter, number 44. He picks up Matt Mitrione. And as you well know, it doesn't have to be a great block. It just has to be enough to keep your quarterback standing and give him a little time, and that's exactly what Kyle Stalter did.
Is there a physics lesson there? Force against force, is there some kind of a formula for that?
Force equals mass times acceleration. That's all I remember.
Oh, you're a Phi Beta Kappa with that kind of stuff.
68 yards on the scoring drive, 432. Well, certainly the mass and acceleration of Matt Mitrione is far greater than that of Kyle Stalter, although Stalter has nothing to be ashamed of. He's 231 himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not a little tiny tailback trying to make a block. He's a fullback with king size.
Providence kicks away. Swoboda will take the ball at his own 3-yard line. Swoboda couldn't get up to where his blockers were, and a mass of Providence Celtics led by Mike Murphy and Khalid Tillman come in to make the stop. Well, Bill, I can't help but thinking, here we go again. The 2A game was close, the 3A game was exceptional, and here we are again, all tied up in this one.
Well, this is what high school football should be about. It's not those runaways, but games that are played right down to the last minute, as it was seen in the 3A game earlier with Jack and Mike Luderman.
Ball is down on the 15-yard line. Now maybe time for Sacred Heart Griffin to try and grind out a little bit of yardage. Eric Wells, nothing doing. And the Providence coach is frantically signaling that they want a timeout. 1:40, and the clock is running finally. And Matt Sefner is not too happy that his guys weren't looking on the sideline and aware enough to realize that he wanted a timeout. Because remember, Providence has the win. And they want to try and get everything they can out of this 1:39 left in the second quarter.
Well, the strategy is just reversed from what we saw in the first quarter. Providence is trying to do the same thing that Springfield Griffin did to Providence earlier in the game.
Because remember, it actually didn't turn into anything, but it was a big reception right before the quarter ended with the win that got Sacred Heart Griffin into their first scoring opportunity of the night. Sports Channel's coverage of the 1995 IHSA State Football Championships continues tomorrow. Bill and I will be here at noon for the 5A title game, Mount Carmel against Maine South. And if you saw the game between Maine South and Fenwick last week, you know what kind of a passing game Maine South has. And then at 2:30, the 6A title game, Naperville Central, the #1 team in the state, in a DuPage Valley tilt against Wheaton, Warrenville South. Second down. Ryan Wells keeps. He has a little bit of running room out to the left, and let's see if Providence goes the timeout route again. The coaches say make sure you signal, and the signal picked up on the sidelines by Jason Edwards, and he signals for the timeout and gets it. 1:27 remaining in the second quarter.
And again, that was a rollout bootleg, and I don't think that they really wanted to throw the football. It looked more like a quarterback sweep on the rollout as far as the bootleg was concerned. They don't want to throw the ball obviously down in this territory, because you get an interception, it turns the football game right around instead of a 7-7 tie.
Keep in mind, Sacred Heart Griffin deferred. They won the toss at the start of the game, so now they have their choice. So can we imagine, Bill, the choice will go, the first pick is going to, will they take the win for the fourth quarter? What will they do? It's going to be a very interesting decision coming up.
I would think you'd take the win right away and then try and do as much. You've got to do it now. You can't wait. And I would think that you would want to do that, but obviously the coaching staff will talk about it at the halftime, and it gives them time to be able to put a couple plays in that they want to run right away if they do decide to receive the ball.
Third down and 9 on the 16, so Providence certainly has things all set up. If they can make one more play on defense, they'll get the ball back. Ryan Wells throws it out toward the sideline, and once again it looked like bad communication between Ryan Wells and Bruni. That pass nowhere near being completed, and what's worse is the clock stops on the incompletion. 1:22 remaining in the second quarter. Not only will Providence get the ball back, but they're going to get it in good field position, and they're going to get it back with plenty of time on the clock.
Well, that surprised me a little bit, Jim, being able to throw the ball down there, particularly the type of pattern that you're throwing. Now, I realize it went into the sidelines, and he was probably told to throw the ball away if he didn't have the guy wide open, but the fact is that it stopped the clock.
Anthony Carley is standing on the 42-yard line. Line drive kick, and it bites right on the 40. Takes a couple of hops, and it'll roll pretty well for the kind of kick it was. It's probably going to roll dead at the 48-yard line, and more importantly for Providence, and maybe somewhat of an error in not handling the punt, a decent amount of time runs off. 32-yard punt. Now 1:07 remaining in the second quarter.
And of course the timeout situation for Providence plays a big role, because they took the timeouts to try and force Springfield Griffin to punt the football into the win.
Providence still has one timeout remaining, however. And on first down, Cruz is going to air it out, goes right down the middle of the field. It is picked off by Bruni. There is the interception he came into the game looking for, and now he's got a good return going as well. He's going to bring the ball back to the 45-yard line of Providence. What a huge play. 15th interception on the year for Bill Bruni, and then he backs it up with a 30-yard return.
Tell me, Jim, has he come to play? I mean, he's been involved in a lot of the key,
and through the touchdown pass
right,
as well.
And key plays, and Bill Bruni now has 15 interceptions, and he ties the record. We'll have the opportunity. You can see it right here. The ball is not thrown particularly well, and Bruni goes up at the height. Now,
he's the receiver on that play.
Right, when the receiver was open, there was no question about it, and Bruni goes at the height, and then he He's 6'3". He's definitely a center fielder on the play, and he knew exactly where he had to go to make that play.
One of the Celtics is down on the near sideline. Now, the record was previously held all by himself by Al Lakomskis, who played for Providence Catholic.
I'm glad you had to pronounce that that last name there with that Greek name.
All my Greek relatives would have been very upset if I had missed it. And being taken off the field for Providence is number 78, Ryan Murphy. And now the worm has really turned. We've got 45 seconds remaining in the second quarter. The clock is going to start running on the 45-yard line, and Wells has shown he's got a pretty good arm, so now Sacred Heart Griffin has a chance of maybe picking up some points before this quarter runs out. Wells will throw. Gets outside of his blocking. He's got room to run and avoids the tackle. He's going to go out of bounds as well at the 31-yard line. What a great play by Ryan Wells. First of all, to pick up yardage, and then to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
I tell you what, we'll have the opportunity to watch this, but this gives you heartburn as a coach because he's coming out. He's not going to throw the ball. He's changed his mind. Look at the way he carries the ball, Jim.
Yeah.
It's like a loaf of bread.
And he got the first down as well. The ball is on the 31-yard line. 26 seconds remaining.
That really
in the second quarter
makes coaches have heart palpitations when people carry the football like
You notice Ryan's got the ear holes plugged up. Wants to keep those ears warm. Wells is going to have to roll out and get away from trouble. He does, and gets around the last man, has to cut it inside, then decides very intelligently just to step out of bounds, stop the clock. The ball is now in the 22. There are 18 seconds remaining in the quarter.
You know, it's interesting. On both plays, they look like they were designed not to throw the ball, but to let the quarterback determine what he was doing, and it's nothing more than a quarterback sweep. And we're seeing the run right here very smartly. Rather than taking the inside route, just walks outside and stops the clock with 18 seconds to go.
And they are now certainly close enough for Wells to pitch it into the end zone. Bruni is wide right. Swoboda is wide left. They decide to go with the run with Eric Wells. We'll take it inside the 20-yard line. He was met head up on the play by number 59, Chris Janik. Chris Janik is quite a story for Providence High School. His grade point average 4.35 on a 4.0 scale. Taking honors classes already. Not only that, he's a wrestler on the wrestling team, and he also was one of many of the Providence Celtics who helped coach Pop Warner football in the new Lenox Joliet area.
And he was also just named to the All-State team in one of the papers. I believe it was the Chicago Tribune. So definitely an All-Stater and certainly one of the leading tacklers for Providence defense.
Chris Janik wanted everybody to know that you don't have to be necessarily classified as a nerd to be smart, and you don't have to be classified as maybe not that intelligent to be a football player, and he's certainly proving both wrong. 12 seconds remaining in the second quarter. The ball rests just inside the 19-yard line. Sacred Heart Griffin scored in a little razzle-dazzle earlier, and they've got a lot of people, obviously, who can handle the ball. They've got a lot of options open to them.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Now, you've gotten Svoboda open at least 3 times. Do you go back to the well? And how effective will it be? Now, you've got Bruni in there also, and you got Svoboda. So do you go with it, or do you go with Bruni at 6'3" and try and get it that way?
Swoboda is wide left, but the pass is going to go for Bruni. He was pushed out of bounds. The interception is made out of bounds. Bruni was just run out of bounds in the play. He never really had a chance.
And the big thing is you can't come back in and make that catch. We'll have the opportunity. He airs it out, and Bruni is knocked out of bounds right at about the 5-yard line, 4-yard line, and he cannot come back in and make that catch. Even if he came back into the field of play, it would be an illegal catch.
Scott Janik doing a good job on defense.
We're going to go with a field goal right now against the wind.
It is going to be a 35-yard attempt.
Coach wants timeout.
Here's the kick, and certainly on the money, but not long enough.
And the coach wanted timeout before, when they lined up. He was calling timeout on the sidelines and didn't get it.
The Cyclone coaching staff was all out on the field signaling for a timeout. And On the play previous to that, obviously, it was to take a step back and throw it up in the end zone to try and preserve time, and I think maybe they may have wanted to try a similar thing on the opposite side of the field, but the result is a missed field goal attempt. There's Ken Leonard trying to get the timeout.
And not only was he doing it, but everybody else on the sideline was doing it, and they just didn't pick it up. 2 seconds to go.
And Medina will run the final play of the first half. It has been quite a defensive struggle for the most part, although a couple of touchdowns are on the board.
Well, everything that we promised people we saw in the first half. 2 outstanding football teams playing as hard as they can play.
We are at halftime of the 4A championship game. Providence 7, Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin 7 as well. It can't possibly be any closer than this. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin tied up with Providence 7-7 at the end of the first half. Let's go down to the field to Dave Southwell.
Hi, I got Ken Leonard here, Springfield Sacred Heart head coach. Ken, it looks like you're famous here. You've read some of the press clippings about Providence. You come out here firing the ball up. You're throwing the ball into the wind, against the wind with it. Did you feel that you had to take some chances to win this game tonight?
Well, we've got everything gained, nothing to lose. We think that we're a very good football team, and we think our defense is great, and we knew we could throw the ball, and we knew how tough Providence's defense was. But hey, this is a state championship. You got to let it all hang out here.
It looks like you're having a lot of success with your size. Providence has rolled over a lot of opponents. They haven't had the toughest schedule in the world, and you're causing some problems with your big linemen. But they're a platoon team, you're not. Can they stay fresh, and do you think you can keep up this kind of beating on them through 4 quarters?
Yes, we can. And most of our defenses, we've only got 3 kids that start both ways. So most of our big kids up front go one way, so they're not going to beat us down. In fact, we may beat them down.
There you heard it from Ken Leonard. He's getting ready to take a shot at his first state championship. Let's go back upstairs to Jim and Bill.
Thanks.
Good job.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. And really, for Sacred Heart Griffin, 2 big plays. The fumble, the forced fumble by Pete Smith, and then the option pass touchdown. And basically, really, Sacred Heart Griffin has just shown more versatility in this game.
Yeah, they have, and the ability to throw the ball surprises you when you see a team that has only thrown 106 passes all year, and they came out with the idea that they were going to throw the ball, and not afraid to, and well conceived. And if it wasn't for a 1 penalty, they might be ahead in this football game.
And I was just thinking about that about Providence. They have moved the ball very well, but a couple of times they've gotten it deep into Cyclone territory. They've had a couple of penalties back them up, so you take out the penalties, and then it might be Providence with the advantage in this game.
Exactly, Jim. And it's a well-played football game. It's 2 good defensive teams still feeling each other out offensively, but you're seeing the players that are touted as being good ones doing the job.
And we have also seen at times some players not making the plays, but boy, isn't it funny, once you got rolling and it seemed like the players got over maybe some of the nerves you have in the early state of this game. Brad Swoboda missed a couple of catches early on, but then he made what may have been the toughest catch of the game, the bobbling catch going down the field.
Right, the 3rd time was a charm. He came back and made the touchdown, and it'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made on both sides. Not so much defensively, because I think both of them feel they're playing good defense, but I think the adjustments will come offensively.
All right, second half still to come here from Hancock Stadium on the campus of Illinois State University. We are tied up 7-7. Springfield, Griffin, and Providence. The IHSA has to be ecstatic over the way these games have been played so far today. We've got another great one going between Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin and Providence. Let's go down to the field once again to Dave Southwell.
Hi, I'm with Dave Fry, Executive Director of the IHSA. Dave, whenever you get a couple of private school teams playing for a championship, it fans some of the flames of discontent. We've already had this year earlier, Bob Doan from Villa Grove High School has filed a proposal to try to prohibit private schools from competing in IHSA tournaments, saying that it's not a level playing field. Dave, what do you feel this proposal is going to go, and what can be done to make it a more level playing field?
Well, first of all, David, the proposal itself was not accepted in our legislative process, and so it's been put on the shelf for the time being. What needs to happen is that the issue that spawned the proposal, the concerns about whether or not there is really equity and a good solid basis on which public and private schools can compete, needs to be analyzed. We need to look at what the problem is, be sure we understand it first, then look at solutions. and the IHSA board is going to be asked, through a recommendation from our legislative commission, to appoint a study committee to take a look at that very issue. Look at the problem and then try to figure out equitable solutions. The one thing that personally I don't want to see happen is for there to be a splintering in the organization. Public school students, private school students can compete together. We live in the country together. We live and work, play together. We ought to be able to compete together, and we need to find a way to get that job done.
Can a move be made right now to make it more equitable for the transfer rule, Dave? Right now, if a kid from a public school transfers out of district, he's got to have 1 year waiting period. But if he transfers to a private school, he can play automatically. This has caused a lot of controversy, especially in basketball. Can this problem be rectified?
Well, if you look at a youngster entering high school for the first time, what you say is true. On the other hand, right now, if a youngster has started high school in a private school, leaves that school and goes to the home public high school, it's the first time into the public school, that student has immediate eligibility as long as the private school principal has signed off approval. Now, I think there are some things that can be done in the transfer rule, but they need to be carefully looked at. We have a complicated situation with the whole fundamental foundation for attendance. That's being given revision consideration on a state level as choice options for attendance are being considered. And I think that there could be some more work done in that area.
Last question for you, Dave. There's 6 classes in football. That's more than any other sport. Some coaches have said that's too little. Some have said too many. Do you feel that this is the right fit? Is 6 championship games the perfect fit for the IHSA?
Well, I don't know if it's the perfect fit, but I think it's a pretty good fit. The one thing that many have suggested might be an improvement, rather than having a qualification system so that only 192 teams get in the playoffs to begin with, is to expand that and allow all schools to participate in the playoffs just as they do in all the other sports. If that were to be the case, we'd have to have more classes, probably 8 classes. And then we'd probably have to finish the regular season after 8 games and then go with the 9th game being the first round of a playoff. That probably is the only way we'll see further expansion.
Well, that would cause a lot more excitement, a lot more playoff atmosphere, and we'd have a lot more champions, right, like we do tonight.
Oh, that's right. We could play 4 games tomorrow instead of 2. Be terrific, wouldn't it?
We'd freeze out here. Dave, I'd like to thank you for coming on with us, even in the cold. Always a pleasure. Let's bounce it back upstairs to Jim and Bill.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Tied up 7-7 at the half of the 4A title game. We'll take a look at the highlights and the stats from the opening half of action after this timeout. All knotted up at 7 at the half here at Hancock Stadium in the Class 4A title game. We're going to get right to the highlights of this game. And the big play that really got everything rolling here in this game, Pete Smith, number 94, Sacred Heart Griffin, is going to come from the right side of the screen. This is just a great defensive play, Bill.
And he trails all the way back, and then he sees where he has the opportunity to be able to get the ball. And, of course, he strips it, and then he just rolls over and makes the recovery.
And on the very next play, Sacred Heart Griffin decides to go to a little razzle-dazzle to pop it into the end zone. They go to the reverse pass. And this is Bill Bruni, who's noted as an interceptor, not a quarterback, but he lays it out there. And Brad Swoboda, who had a couple of drops early on, makes the difficult catch.
Well, and then the ball just hung up on his shoulder pad, and, you know, he dropped 2 previously, and obviously the third was going to be the charm, and he scores a touchdown.
It was 7-0 Sacred Heart Griffin, but then Richards drives it down all the way the other end of the field, and even though they're a running team, they have an ability to pass. Cruz goes into the end zone, just lays it up, picks up a touchdown. Providence got the extra point. At that point, the game was all tied up 7-7. And at the beginning of this game, we mentioned to you that there was a subplot going on in this one. Will Bill Bruni get 1 interception to tie the state record for interceptions in one season? It came on this play.
And he's playing center field, and the ball was just thrown up and really not with any kind of accuracy. And Bill Brune had his eyes on it all the way, goes up to the highest point, takes the ball away, and then makes a nice return.
So we are all tied up 7-7 at the end of one half of play here in the 4A title game. The stats, well, the first down's right about even, but then you see the disparity in the yards rushing and yards passing, but the total yards about dead even. Time of possession a little out of whack, but hey, it's 7-7. It's been an evenly played game so far.
Well, and you came into this game with the idea that both of them were running. Sacred Heart now has thrown the ball like they have done in the past, so it's a great football game. It's a pleasure to do.
Another half of football. maybe more to decide a state champion. We're tied up 7-7 at the half. It has been a great day of football so far here at Hancock Stadium. It only promises to get better. We've got another tight one going. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin tied up with Providence Catholic at 7-7 as we get ready to begin the third quarter. Now, before the half, we heard from Sacred Heart Griffin coach Ken Leonard. Now it's time to go down to the sidelines. Let's hear from Dave Southwell, the Providence coach.
Yeah, I'm with Matt Sempner, the head coach of Providence. Matt, first half they were throwing the ball on you. Did they catch you unexpectedly?
No, we knew they had a fine quarterback. They throw the ball very well. In that one catch, we tipped the ball and a kid got it, and he brought it all the way in. I thought defensively we did a nice job. We didn't move the ball as well as we could have. Offensively, we weren't consistent enough. That was what we're a little bit disappointed with.
Your tackle got hurt there near the end of the half, Brian Murphy. Is he going to be able to go?
He'll be back. He's ready to go right now.
Are you going to try to throw the ball a little more this half?
We're going to, whatever we feel is going to be going, at that particular time, that's what we're going to go with.
Best of luck in the second half here, Matt. Let's take it back upstairs to Jim and Bill.
And really, we saw that in the opening half. The situation does dictate what the teams are about to do, and Bill is somewhere in that line trying to get a little bite to eat before we start the second. No, he's right here, of course. But it really does. What determines what you're able to do on offense, first of all, is which direction you are going. And we mentioned Sacred Heart Griffin deferred the choice. They'll get the ball to open up the second half. Now, Providence obviously decided they want the wind in the fourth quarter, so they will play into the wind here in the third, and they'll take the wind in the fourth.
Coach Central was with Dave down on the sideline. He was worried about consistency. I think the problem with the consistency is that you're playing a defensive team that's a lot better than you thought they were.
Swoboda with some pretty good blocking, and Swoboda has really one man to beat. The question is can the backside help when the punt return, the kickoff return get to him? And finally they do, but not before Brad Swoboda takes it down inside the 20-yard line. Khalid Tillman finally made the tackle. Swoboda did a good job picking up a 47-yard kickoff return, but also using his blocks to work his way down.
That's exactly right, Jim, and you'll have the opportunity to watch it right here. He slows down, then he picks up the speed, and then he looks for people to help him out, and he runs behind the interference. Now watch how many times he switches. He switches again, picks up some more, and he'll switch it again before he's caught from behind. Outstanding.
And he had a chance to maybe try and sprint outside and go all the way, but he decided to go for the sure thing. Some very good kick returning by Swoboda. And then he gets the handoff going up the middle, make that tripper. Gets the, or Gripper, I should say, takes it down inside the 5-yard line. So Sacred Heart Griffin starting to strike quickly here as they get the ball to open the second half.
We'll get an opportunity to see Christian Gripper at fullback, number 39. He just went right up the pipe. There was no surprises there, and it was a quick opener. Boom, right now, and they're on the 3-yard line.
We have played all of 45 seconds here to open the third quarter, and Sacred Heart Griffin threatening. They have the ball on the 3-yard line, first and goal. Ryan Wells takes it himself, just bullying his way forward. He picks up positive yardage. It looks like he'll be down close to the 1-yard line.
So you have to like the fact that Springfield Griffin, Sacred Heart comes right out. They're right ready to go. And obviously, some good things were said at the locker room, and they were ready. They were absolutely ready from the kickoff, and then, of course, you get a great run back by Swoboda, and that just picks everybody up.
Second down and goal, the 1. This time it's Eric Wells, and he's driven backward by the Providence defense and finally thrown down back around the 15-yard line. Of course, his forward progress was done long before that. Chris Janik there leading the charge for the Celtic defense.
And you'll see the Celtic defense, they actually came off the ball a lot better than the offensive line for Springfield Griffin, and they just drove them right back. And again, here's the momentum. You've got a great run back, you've got a great fullback run up the middle, and now Providence is got the momentum well in hand if they can stop them on this down right here. Big
Cyclone
down.
fans booing the spot. They spot the ball all the way back at the 11-yard line, and Ken Leonard is coming out onto the field, and he is not happy at all. He is really upset at where that ball was spotted. Remember, the line of scrimmage originally was the 1. They did not give Wells forward progress. They called him down at the 11. he was continuing to fight for yardage, and Leonard, as much as he could, wanted an explanation without getting the flag thrown out himself. Probably one of the things he wants to do is get his team calmed down.
Well, I was going to say, it's okay if he can do it, but you want to keep the players. And when you see the coach reacting that way, sometimes that gets people going a little bit. But it surprised me a little bit that I didn't see the flag, because he was really on the field and shouldn't be, because that's not. And I'm the worst guy to say that, because I used to do that quite a bit. But my point is that when you're in a championship game, you can't afford to get a penalty on you as the coach.
Our next Blackhawks game coming up here on Sports Channel will be on Sports Channel Plus Sunday night. The Blackhawks' next stop on their road trip will be in Calgary to take on the Flames. You'll be able to see it live on Sports Channel Plus at 7 o'clock. Contact your programming provider about how you can see Sports Channel Plus in your area. And then we'll have the game replayed on Sports Channel coming up at 10:30 on Sunday night. That's right here on Sports Channel, and that will be after the Sports Channel report on Sunday.
Let's see if we get that little soft touch pass.
3rd down and goal. Wells is in trouble, gets away from the pressure, fakes the pass. Wells, is ready for the goal line. He gets in for the touchdown.
Is the coach happy? Is Leonard happy? He's running all the way the opposite line when he saw, oh my. They had him for a loss. He breaks the tackle, turns it into a touchdown run.
Ryan Wells' ability to run away from the containment has been a big factor so far in this game. Sacred Heart Griffin leads at 13-7. Now Wells will line up for the extra point.
16, and Wells to the extra point.
Make it 14-7.
You know, one thing when it's this cold, Jim, and you're kicking that football, that's like kicking a cement brick, because that ball is heavy. And here's a replay. We'll get a chance to see Wells. He makes a play. He's caught right there, and he gets away, and he doesn't get any support from the Providence Celtics in terms of tackling, and he just makes something into nothing.
Look who is making one of the key blocks down near the goal line. Bill Bruni, number 8.
I mean, he really, this is a nothing play. This is one you want to throw away, and he makes something.
It's the fake with the ball here that makes the whole thing. And if I'm not mistaken, when he fakes it, he was almost past the line of scrimmage anyway.
Well, Bill Bruni was very wise. He was out for the pass, and he just stood in the way. He didn't make any great block.
Right, it was a crowd control block.
Exactly, and the best thing is if you try to make a play, then you're going to get a penalty, and all he did was stand in the way so that Wells could go in for the score.
We are seeing some heads-up football played in this game on both sides.
I tell you, it's easy to see why Bill Bruni has been projected as a Division I football player, and watching tonight's game, it certainly isn't going to hurt him.
9:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 9:41 remaining for Providence to play with the wind in regulation of this game.
Now Wells is going to have to kick the ball off. Now he just scored a touchdown. Do you think he has anything left to kick the ball off?
He's got the wind at his back, so a deep kick would really help the cause. He nails it all the way down to the 8-yard line. And this is Medina bringing it out past the 30-yard line to about the 32.
And Medina makes a nice run back up over the 30-yard line. So trading kickoff returns, and let's see if they exchange football touchdowns with Providence now at about the 32-yard line.
24 yards on the return, and for Providence, remember, they're going into the wind, and if you can make a statement, if you can get a drive going, chew up some yardage, and get things moving on the ground, Providence would have an advantage because they have the win in the 4th quarter. Kyle Stalter is going to carry the ball out to the 33 before he's brought down. It's going to bring up 2nd and 8.
Well, this is one of the things that Providence has always wanted to do. They want to be able to control the ball. They take it 3 and 4 yards at a crack, and that's been disrupted. And that, I think, was what Coach Stemfer was talking about. And you see it right there. They're not consistent with the ball offensively, and that means they are not able to make long drives and haven't been able to do that all day.
They did a nice job, but they had penalties that just killed them during the first half. Medina met at the line of scrimmage. J.C. Clark, number 1, into the tackle, as was Pete Smith, as was Todd Schnellner.
With Springfield Griffin going ahead right now, this has certainly been a momentum change for the defensive people. That really picked them up, and they know that they've got to they've got to make the play. And coming into this game, Coach Leonard said, defense will win the state championship.
3rd down and 7 for Providence from their 34. They'll stay on the ground. Medina still on his feet, twisting and turning, but before he could break into a spot where he might be able to pick up some yardage, he was hauled down at the 37-yard line, and that will force Providence to punt into the wind. Todd Schnellner making the stop.
You still have to be impressed with his footwork. That young man's got great feet. He's always looking straight ahead, looking for a little bit more room and an extra yard.
Swoboda is back to receive the kick. And Providence changing up their blocking. Kick is away, and the best thing to do is what Schultz did right there, just kind of line drive it and get it out there, make sure there's not a big return. Not a great punt if you're looking at punting aesthetics, but it's certainly effective. No return of the play, 21-yard kick. Sacred Heart Griffin will take over at their own 41.
These are two words that football fans hear all the time. Ball control, field position, and playing good defense, and that's exactly what this football game has been all about.
Run the ball, stop the run. It's the basics of football, but all the teams you've seen here today are able to do it. And nothing much doing on the running play for Sacred Heart Griffin. In there to make the stop, Dominic Pasolano. Also Phil Netznick, number 60, as you see right in the middle of your screen, there to make the stop.
And first down really is when you want to get a few more yards. So you're not into a 3rd down situation where you have to throw the ball and that the defense can contemplate you throwing the football.
Providence has not had many long yardage situations where they might be able to make a big play on defense. Wells turns it up, has all sorts of room. Wells has a first down into Providence territory. He's finally hauled down at about the 47-yard line, and Pete Smith, number 90, a little bit slow to get up.
And this is really a good football play. You fake it inside, you come outside, you're looking for the pitch man. He wasn't even looking for the pitch man, but the pitch man's there. So the next time they run the option, you're going to see Wells looking for the pitch man. And of course, the Celtics defense may come up and play the quarterback a little bit differently, and that would certainly open the pitch on the option.
Ryan Wells moves the chain on a 2nd and 9 play. Sacred Heart Griffin with the ball in the Providence 47. And the pass to Swoboda. You cannot ask anything more of a defensive player than to come up and make a stick like that. Jason Edwards with perfect technique on a man in the open field.
It better be, because if he misses this one and it's just a 2-step drop, it's a quick pass. It's almost like a quick screen, if you would. And Jason Edwards, I'm sorry, comes up and makes a play, and he misses that one. It's 6 points.
Swoboda did a good job of catching the ball without dropping his knee down to the ground too, which is the natural thing to do on a low pass like that. Pickup of a couple on the play. Wells is back to throw. He's running out of time. He will be snowed under back in his own end of the field. Loss on the play on the sack back to the 48-yard line. Brian Parker, among others, to get there for Providence.
Dropping back is not the key, and you'll see the inside fake, and it's maybe a 6. You should drop back 7, but he dropped back 6. But then he's got half the Celtic defense breathing hot air down, and there's no way that you're going to run that ball. You've got to run out of the pocket. You've got to be able to take and run away from the defense.
3rd and 15. Ryan Wells keeps. Looked like he might pitch to his brother Eric, but that was big yardage on the play, but there's also a flag down. As Ryan Wells turned the corner, he goes out of bounds near where the first down marker is.
And that's the blocking behind the back, and that's the risk you run when you have your wide receiver downfield. The defender will turn his back, and then you make the block, and that's exactly what he's getting. You're going to get a clipping call. We'll have the opportunity. This is a great play. And he's looking for the pitch. Last time, he wanted to keep the ball. Well, now the keep is there, and there you see the penalty right there, blocked from behind. And how many times have we seen both of these teams make a good rush? And here's a perfect angle.
Yeah, that's a penalty.
You can't miss that one. And Pete Smith comes up and he's the one that they blocked behind the back.
Included in those 45 yards of penalties for Sacred Heart Griffin is a 15-yard penalty, personal foul that was deep in the Providence end of the field. So they have really hurt themselves at times with penalties. It's 3rd and 23 on the Cyclone 40-yard line. Wells looking to throw, going down the sideline, and pass interference is going to be called. Bruni was the intended receiver in the area. On defense was Mark Braun.
And he pushed off. Maybe have the opportunity. He definitely pushed off. There's no question about it. We have the opportunity. If we can see it right here. Not a particularly good pass. And very difficult.
He really didn't have anybody open right out there.
Right, and here's the angle that you can see, and he just pushed off on it. And that's what they're calling it for.
The Providence fans don't like it at all, as you can hear. And the most important thing about that is it turns 3rd down and over 20 into 1st down and 10.
Now they've trained penalties right here, and you know, it certainly gives Sacred Heart an opportunity to get back into the game and into the rhythm of their offense.
They've got 4:45 left with the win, too. Handoff up the middle, nothing pretty.
You get the feeling that the last 3 plays, other than the pass plays, have been options. Now, the quarterback is kept twice. First time, and the second time he kept the ball, he looked for the pitch. Now they've gone to the fullback on the option. Let's see how they come up with the continuity of their plays if they run the option again, Jim.
So John Bohan with 2 carries here in the second half. He's didn't see any action in the first half, but he's in there now on offense as the fullback. And once again, he will get the carry. Didn't get much, but got a little. He's going to be up right around the 37-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2.
Yeah, John Bohan, number 44, 5'10", 191, and he's only a sophomore, so that's why we haven't seen much of him this evening. But he can run, too. They've got some good runners.
Let me tell you something, and I'm big on uniforms and the way they look, and the way Springfield has selected their uniforms. Everybody looks fast out there. See, that's one thing. If I were a high school coach, I would tell everybody, pull up your socks, because it makes you look faster. Well, with the black tights underneath there, that's a good look.
And then you also wear pants that one size too small.
3rd down. The pitch goes deep in the backfield to Eric Wells. He's met by a surge of the Providence defense. He needed to get up to the 35-yard line to pick up the 1st down. It appears he is well short.
You know, when you look at that offensive play, are they getting away from the sequence of the option? I don't think so. It was a pitch, and they went right now to the pitch to outside.
Let's go down to the sidelines to Dave Southwell.
Hi, I've got Sharon and Bob Wells here, the parents of our twin stars for Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin. One's a lefty, one's a righty, but how else have you been able to tell these 2 apart over the years?
Oh, some of their mannerisms are different, the way they hold their body, the way they say things on the telephone a lot of times, so I don't know who I'm speaking with and have to ask who is this. And if they've had a fresh haircut, they really look alike.
And we've got a lot going on behind us here. Bob, one other question for you here. I know that they part their hair differently. That's one way to tell them apart. Yeah. But how did one become a quarterback and one a running back? Did they have a little contest for that?
No, actually, Eric was a defensive a linebacker in JFL and didn't like offense. He became an offensive player. We had a very good quarterback on that JFL team, so Ryan just played wide receiver. We got here into high school, and Ryan turned into a quarterback.
Now they're playing pitch and catch together. The twin sensations. Let's take it back upstairs. Thanks for joining us. Back up to you, Jim.
Twin boys, I nominate Mrs. Wells for immediate sainthood. And her son Ryan got the 1st down, and the previous play now goes back to throw. The ball was tipped, and Shane Flynn got a hand on it. Steve Withers had sights on an interception.
Here's the throw, and he's trying to throw it right in between 3 defenders, and there's the ball, and it was tipped, and Shane Flynn almost had himself an interception.
Well, keep in mind, one of the things we have to keep track of here. This is the 11th play of the drive, but 2:04 remaining in the quarter. And remember, the wind switches over to Providence in the second half. Wells is going to keep, fakes the pitch, turns it up, and then he's met hard.
Every time
by Steve Withers.
Every time they run that option, you can almost feel that one of these times he's going to pitch the ball and he's going to go. If they come up inside, they being Providence, they come up on the inside and play the quarterback, the pitch is going to be there.
And let's start seeing if the timeouts start getting called here. It is third down, and you might see them if Sacred Heart Griffin could come up with another first down to preserve the wind at their back, because the wind is really starting to gust now. Third down and 6 from the 30. Wells is met in the backfield, but he got away. Wells is still running, and he's finally tracked down about the 28-yard line. Ken Krasowski making the stop. Bill Grogan was in the neighborhood as well.
Well, he sure saved a few yards there, about 15. He is met right now. He's trying to run the bootleg. How he got away, I'm not sure. And of course, he turns it up inside and at least gets it to the line of scrimmage.
All right, this is going to be interesting here because we've got 4th down and 4. The clock is running. The wind is at Springfield's back. They will go for the field goal. It's a 45-yard attempt, but remember, Wells has the wind with him. Gets the kick up. Just good.
He got it just underneath. Oh my, what a kick. What a kick. Right underneath the bar. And the last time he did it, it was just about, well, it was under the bar. And this time it was probably 2 yards longer. 45-yard field goal.
In the parlance of track and field, it was wind aided, but it counts. 17-7. Sacred Heart Griffin has the lead. The wind has been a key factor in the decisions of the coaches in this game. We saw some timeouts burned at the end of the first quarter in order to preserve the wind. And you see the flag blowing in the breeze, and a 45-yard field goal by Ryan Wells has given Sacred Heart Griffin a 17-7 lead. Now, 36 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Wells has to pick up. It is very important for him, now that he has the wind at his back, to pin Providence down as deep as they can, because in 36 seconds we flip around and Providence will have the wind, and Wells takes advantage of it, knocking it through the back of the end zone.
The interesting thing is Coach Leonard he didn't hesitate. I mean, they've missed 2 other field goals, and he went right back to it, and that shows you that he's got a lot of confidence in Ryan Wells.
Earlier, Wells barely missed a 52-yarder.
Right, and then he missed another one down here against the wind and barely missed it also. So he obviously has the confidence and knows that he can kick the football the way he wants it done.
Providence starts out on offense. Medina stacked up at the line of scrimmage, and there's that forward lean once again, as he just falls his way out for about 4 yards to the 24-yard line.
You know, he's a runner that always makes positive yardage.
I'm somewhat surprised here, and there we go. We get the whistle, and I was going to say I'm somewhat surprised that Sacred Heart Griffin has not called a timeout here and make Providence run as many plays as they can possibly make them run into the wind. Time will run out here in the third quarter. Sacred Heart Griffin taking big advantage of the wind in the third quarter, putting 10 points on the board. They lead it by 10 heading to the fourth. Along with Bill Gorley, Jim Blaney back at Hancock Stadium. Providence trailing by 10, but now they have the wind in the fourth quarter. They are going to have to take advantage of it, as Springfield Griffin did in the third quarter. Second down play, and it's going to bring up about 3rd down and 3.
You know, Jim, we were talking about the strategy of whether you'd call a timeout with just a few seconds left to go. And the biggest thing I think that you look at is Ken Leonard came into this football game from a defensive approach with the idea that if he could force Providence to throw the football, then he had accomplished what they needed to do defensively. And so I think that came into play as to whether you would call a timeout and waste it or not. And now you've got Providence in their own territory trying to get out, and you got a defensive team playing real well.
Stalter is wrapped up by John Bohan. A loss of a yard of the play. It's going to bring up 4th and 5.
And Bill Bruni comes up and watch him finish off and make the play. Look, reaching for that ball. He's looking for that ball all the way. And he's a real heads-up football player. There's no question about it. He has a lot of presence out there. I really like that player. I think I'd recruit him.
Bill Scholl with a chance to punt with the wind. Mishandled it for a second. The rush got close, and he gets off a beauty. Swoboda is going to let it drop, and once again, a little bite wedge stops at about the 37-yard line.
You must be into this golf with all this wedge shooting.
Best way. I've sculled enough of them in my life to know what a decent one looks like if it should ever happen that I hit one again.
Well, I have a chipper. I don't use that wedge. I just kind of run it up.
Club has given me fits the last couple of years.
You know, my boys give me a hard time because I have this little tiny club that I just run up, because if I hit it, it goes over on the next tee.
If I'm anything less than a full club, I'm in big trouble. 10.5 minutes remaining, and Providence in big trouble as well. They trail by 10, and Sacred Heart Griffin has the ball. Here's where you like to go to your ground game and start grounding it out. Gripper with the carry.
It's interesting how they've gone back to the option. They're running the fullback. Now you're going to come out, and again, it's a high risk, because if you pitch that ball, you've got problems. But Ryan Wells hasn't done that all day, so I don't know why he'd choose to do it now.
Providence needs to make a stand on defense. They need the ball back, and they need it back in a hurry. They have 2 possessions they need with scores to get back in this football game. 2nd down 10. Wells on the option, pitches it out to his brother Eric, and he's got running room. He'll be short of the first down by about 2 yards. The ball is spotted at the 45-yard line. Steve Withers in to make the tackle.
This team is fearless. I mean, they are willing to do whatever they have to do in order to win this football game. There's the fake inside, and as soon as he's tackled, the pitch is gone. And that's what we were talking about earlier. They have really set this play up because the quarterback has been free. Now, the Celtics are coming down on the quarterback, and he's pitching the ball. And what's really making the difference is the spacing to be able to make that pitch.
3rd down 2. And Ryan Wells will try and sneak his way to the first down. The pile just keeps on moving. Let's see where the spot is made. He needs to get out just shy of the 47-yard line to get the first down. And he looks like he got a pretty decent spot. There will be a measurement, though. From where the chain is, it appears he's got it, and he does.
Sacred Heart in this drive needs at least 2 or 3 first downs just to run the clock down, to get better field position. And if they do have to punt the ball, they can keep the Celtics down in their territory. You realize now at this point that the Celtics have to get at least 2 touchdowns if they want to win this football game.
I think the Providence Celtics wanted a measurement to see exactly if the first down had been made. The officials are quite certain that it is a first down, and time to start the clock up and start going again. Ryan Wells, 12 carries, 55 yards. But it's been a total effort by the Cyclones offense. Nearly everybody has had a hand in it.
And a great defensive effort.
Here comes the option again. Wells will keep. Turned it up and maybe got a yard.
And he had an escort on that particular option. The fullback filled. The guard came out, and the quarterback was right behind the guard. We have an opportunity. You can see it here at home, where he's got the personal escort, and he's not about to pitch that ball. He's going to turn it up inside.
Cyclones just want to see that clock keep moving. 8 minutes now remaining in the 4th quarter. They have a 10-point lead. Option again. Ball's in the turf. Eric Wells comes up with it. Now he's got a freelance. And he'll get back to about the 42-yard line, but a big loss in the 2nd down play. Dominic Pasolano and Steve Withers in there trying to track down the ball, and then they got back there and took Eric Wells down.
Well, you can see the Celtic defense has changed up. They've decided to go after the quarterback rather than let him turn up inside. And of course now they're forcing the pitch, and they haven't run this real well, and they've only pitched the ball 3 or 4 times, and there it is right on the turf, and they lose some yardage. And it's tough when you have to run the option and you can't give it to the fullback and you can't run your quarterback. As soon as you put the ball in the air, you've got a problem.
Ken Leonard's offense has made some big plays on 3rd and long. They face 3rd and 15 right now. And Wells is just going to take it straight up the gut. He's going to pick up a couple of yards out to the 45. But Sacred Heart Griffin, a 10-point lead, 6:55 left to go in the game. They certainly are not going to chance anything at this point.
Well, you want to be able to get a good punt, try and get the Celtics back deep, and make them go 70 yards. If they're going to score, that's fine. You've got 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go, but you want to make them go full length of the field, be able to go for a touchdown.
Carly and Medina are deep, and Providence had too many men on the field. They decided to call a timeout, and certainly not the spot where they wanted to use a timeout. .6:34 remaining in the 4th quarter. Providence about to get the ball back, but time is starting to get a little scarce. Providence about to get the ball back, trailing by 10 points. And don't forget, our next Bulls game coming up on Sports Channel will be on Sunday. Live coverage begins at 6:30 with Bulls game time, and then the Bulls and the Sonics coming up at 7 o'clock on Sunday night. The kick high and into the wind, doesn't go very far, and then takes a good bounce for Providence. The ball will be down at the 41-yard line. The time is now for the Providence Celtics.
Well, they've got to score now, and they've got to score quick, because with 6 minutes and 25 seconds, you've got to have 14 points if you want to win this football game.
Speaking of 14 yards on the kick.
And that's one of the things that Sacred Heart did not want to have happen.
Providence also is going to need some big plays. 1st down. Cruz is going to roll out. He's looking to throw. He's being chased, and he's being taken down to the 39-yard line. Todd Schnellner,
the leading tackler for the last 2 years for the Springfield Griffin Sacred Heart football team. The Cyclones are really going to have to come up with a lot of good plays. Providence, of course, is going to be able to have to run away from the rush. They know that they're going to come, and they've got to run away from the rush, but you're forcing a team to do something they don't like to do, and they're not as consistent with the throwing game as they are with the running game.
Schneller responsible for a 2-yard loss. Cruz wants to set up the screen. He has Medina. Medina's got some blocking. Medina's across midfield. Medina in a race down the sideline. He'll be pushed out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. And all of a sudden, Providence gets the big play they were looking for. The screen was set up, but Medina did a great job of noticing where his blockers were.
And Eric Wells will have the opportunity to watch. There's a screen pass. Not a great rush by Springfield Griffin, but Medina with the good feet looks for the open spot. And then, of course, you have Eric Wells, who comes up from his defensive halfback spot and saves the touchdown. This is exactly what Providence needed. They needed to move the ball fast.
5:28 to go. Quick snap. Medina takes it down inside the 15. He'll fight his way to about the 12. In on the tackle, among others, Todd Schneller again.
And Bill Brune also in on the play.
There was a flag on the play, and they go to Schneller and say, what do you want to do? Do you want to back him up? And he says, certainly. Walking into the stadium tonight, I saw one of the...
Motion, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
They're not set. They're going on a quick count.
I saw one of the vans that the folks from New Lenox brought from Providence, and it said 27-0 and counting. Providence is trying for a 2nd straight undefeated season, and of course, the 2nd straight state title.
And the biggest thing of that is 27 games. They haven't lost since 1993 in the 2nd round of the playoffs. That just seems like an eternity.
1st down, 15. Cruz will roll and look to throw. Chased a little bit, tried to get it into the hands of Medina. Maybe the most fortunate thing that happened on the play was it was an incomplete pass, because that stops the clock, and it would have been a gain of a couple yards anyway.
When you're talking about winning streaks, you have to realize that Springfield Griffin Sacred Heart has not lost since the first game of the year. They lost to Peoria Richwoods 13-11, and they're on a 12-game winning streak themselves. So that's why this is such a good football game today. And you got two good, tough teams.
Second down, 15. Cruz back to throw. He's going down the sideline, hangs it up, and the pass broken up at the goal line.
And no flag. People were looking for that flag because there's a lot of pushing and shoving.
Phil Pearson there with the coverage.
Good example right here. Medina's just going to throw it up, and he's looking for just someone to be deep. The defensive halfback, there's a push and a shove, and we're looking for a Sacred Heart player, and he's in on the play. There it is, right there. Great play.
Third down. Cruz looking to throw, doesn't see anybody open, but now finds a man down in the middle of the field. The completion is made to Dan Joyce. Eric Wells on the coverage. That will be a first down for Providence. 4:53 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Straight drop back, and he's looking all over the place, and now he sees Joyce. He spots him over the middle, and we have not heard from Joyce in a pass reception all evening, and he almost fumbles it. The ball goes up in the air, and he makes the catch again on the ground.
Medina gets the carry, and he takes it down inside the 5-yard line.
Don't take a deep breath here, because they'll run another play. They're really going on quick counts. They know they're running against the clock.
We need to explain something here to some of our viewers. They'll be losing this game off of Sports Channel Plus in about 5 minutes, and the best thing I can tell you, this game will be replayed Sunday at noon. So maybe they'll go to the quick offense and we'll get it all in. Cruz on second down, hands off to Medina, and he's met at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Todd Schneller is having some kind of game on defense for Sacred Heart Griffin. It seems like he is in on nearly every tackle that's being made.
And Brian Kaprianik also in on that play. He actually made the initial hit, and then of course Schneller came in and finished it off.
3:43 remaining. It's third down and goal. Cruz bootleg. He was sniffed out but got away. Cruz gets into the end zone.
Touchdown.
Touchdown Providence. They have closed this thing down to a 4-point game.
Now, do you go for two?
You're reading my mind.
Do you go for two, or do you wait because you have to get the ball again? Now here's a good look at the bootleg, and he just outruns the defensive end. He outran Mike Lyons and just went right for the corner flag and scores a touchdown.
Well, Cruz is still in the game, so they will go for two. Why not?
Absolutely, you got to have another score.
You have to have another score. If you don't make it, you still need a touchdown. Cruz is going to roll. Throws it into the end zone, and it is a 2-point conversion. So now if Providence can get the ball back, they can win it with a field goal.
Exactly. Does it come any better than this, Jim?
Ed Olsta, who caught the first touchdown of the game, makes the reception on the 2-point conversion. This Providence team has some kind of heart.
And Cruz, not a great thrower, but certainly an adequate thrower.
Oh, what a great catch,
Absolutely.
Too.
Olstead makes the catch for the 2-point. And now, 3:35. Would you onside? I wouldn't, because you're going to give him good field position.
3:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Sacred Heart Griffin will get the ball. They have a 2-point lead. But remember, Providence has the win, and Bill Schull, the kicker, is going to have a chance to get this thing deep. Schull
chooses to go deep. I think they will, but you never know.
And Schull has to be the guy who is hoping, just hoping for a chance that he'll get to win this thing with a field goal. He's lining up for an onside kick, but will instead kick it away. And he does exactly what he wanted to do in 2 ways. He kicks it deep, and he also gets it out of the end zone where the clock doesn't run on a return. It preserves all that precious time that Providence is going to need if they want to win this football
Now,
game.
that's the thing that people forget is when you do kick the ball out of the end zone like that, the clock doesn't start until someone touches the ball. So you've got 3:35. Now, if Sacred Heart's going to win this football game, they definitely have to get at least 2 or 3 first downs. So, and of course, the Celtics are saying there's no way you're going to get 2 or 3 first downs on this defense.
Hand off to the up man, Gripper. He goes nowhere. He'll be taken down for a loss.
And you got to remember the last time that Sacred Heart punted the ball, it only went 17 yards.
Bill Grogan and Brian Parker in there. Last year before the state title game, Ken Sefner gave 2 pregame talks, one to his seniors saying, here is your opportunity season. He gave another talk to his juniors. He said, if you can win this game, think of what you can do when you come back as seniors. The Providence Celtics have not forgotten that. 2 timeouts apiece remaining. It's 2nd down and 12. Wells rolls, nothing doing. The Providence defense comes up big again.
And of course, Shane Flynn comes up from the inside from his defensive halfback position to make the tackle. We'll have an opportunity to watch it. It's a run all the way. It's a quarterback run. And you see Shane come right up and he finishes it off. And that's the way you want a defensive halfback to come inside out to be able to make a play. The important thing is the clock is still running. 2:37, 3rd down and 12 yards to go. What kind of a play do you call right here?
And don't forget the wind being a factor. Sacred Heart Griffin will have to punish the wind, and then Providence is going to have the wind at their back, so they can try a field goal that might be a little longer than they might normally try.
If Providence forces the punt, I would look for them with the kind of time that's on the clock, that they would run the football to try and get it in position and try and get Medina out in the open. We'll wait and see.
Don't forget, we have 2 more state championship games coming up tomorrow. The 5A game, Mount Carmel against Maine South at noon, and then on or about 2:30, Naperville Central and Wheaton Warrenville South. 3rd down 12, 2:37 remaining. Providence recovers. Shane Flynn with the recovery. And the Celtics are going to have an opportunity to either stick it in the end zone and win it, or at least a field goal try. What an unbelievable turn of events. Sacred Heart Griffin was simply content to run the football and then punt it away.
Well,
they fumble it.
He slips. He keeps running, fighting for yardage.
And it was stripped away.
Yes, absolutely.
Bill Grogan stripped it away.
Grogan strips the ball when he's fighting for the yardage to get the extra yards, and there was no need to do that. It was 12 yards. You aren't going to get any extra yards. Hold on to that football.
2:14 left. Medina in the backfield. Schneller made the stop.
Are there great players coming to the forefront now?
Check that. That was Mitrione, number 52.
From his nose guard position.
Timeout situation. Each team has 1. The goal for Sacred Heart now, not give up the touchdown and make the field goal as long as you possibly can. 2nd down 12. 1:47 remaining. Cruz wants to throw. Little screen. Has it set up. Big yardage all the way down inside the 10-yard line. Ed Olsta has done nothing but make big receptions in this game.
That's the 3rd reception he's had, and every one of them was bigger than the last.
1.5 left.
Here's Cruz, makes a little fake inside, and he's looking downfield, sees Ed Olsta, and that was set up. That was a screen downfield, and Ed Olsta then comes across the field as we're watching him run right here. Big football play right there.
Cruz hands off to Medina. He fights for yardage down inside the 5. Maybe got down to the 3-yard line. Todd Schneller there to make the stop.
Now you're in a position, doesn't make any difference. You hold on to the football, you try and get a yard at a time. If you don't get it, you still have the opportunity for the field goal.
57 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. It's second down and goal from the 4. Handoff up the middle. Touchdown, Providence. They go ahead. Louis Medina with the score.
Well, I guess some teams are destined to win state championships. And Providence certainly is aptly named because Providence came into play when they got that fumble to be able to go and score. Here's a replay, just a reverse out. You got Louis Medina.
It's that forward lean that we talked about all night. 22-17. These Providence kids have got so much heart, it's incredible. Sacred Heart, though, is going to get the ball back one more time. They still have 46 seconds left. Here's a look at the go-ahead touchdown.
Just a little reverse out, straight ahead dive to Louis Medina, and those feet are going constantly. And of course, you got to give credit to that offensive line. Tim Tehan, Ryan Murphy, Dan Redican, Jeff Howlett, Dan Kettlar, and Kyle Johnson. They just made the surge, and Louis just made it the rest of the way and made it easy.
Think back to the words of Coach Senfer last year to his juniors. Think about what you can accomplish if you can win this game. That was prior to last year's state title game. They are now 46 seconds away from going 28-0 as upperclassmen.
And the best thing is, this is their 4th state championship. And they defended. Actually, they didn't defend it because they won it in 5A, but they're still a defending champion for the state championship here at ISU Norman.
Schuld is called on again for a big kick. And Swoboda is standing very deep at his own 5-yard line. Great kick by Schuld. That's a live ball.
It went
into the end zone. I didn't see it go into the end zone. I was going to say Swoboda was letting that thing roll around. But the official signaling that it did indeed go to the end zone and come back out. 46 seconds left.
This is like the swan song right here for Springfield Griffin. Well, let's see if they can pull another Swoboda out of the hat.
The ball is on the 20. Ryan Wells rolls it out, and he'll be hauled down, but he did get out of bounds.
Bill Grogan made that play, grabbed Wells by the arm and threw him out.
Bill, obviously you and Mike Liederman and Jack have been coming down here for a lot of years. My question to you is this: can you remember a better day of closer games and better action than we've had?
Never. I mean, you've always had 1 or 2 ball games, but here, the last game we saw, the 3A game, it was close. Our game, the 2A was close, and now you've got another 3rd game in a row.
The key thing is 40 seconds remaining. Wells has got to start moving his team to the field. From the pocket, has time, goes up the sideline. That pass was intended for Smith. He had to run through a couple of Providence players to get to the ball. There could have been a flag on the play, but there was none thrown.
Yeah, it looked like there might be, and Coach Leonard is very upset about that, and there's the push right there. It should have been called because he forced him out of bounds, and that's not legal. But Coach Leonard didn't get the call he wanted.
34 seconds to go.
Now you're going to trips to the wide side of the field.
And it's 3rd down. They may want to think about grabbing a first and getting 4 more bullets. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, and it was nearly picked off.
And that
Steve Withers right there to make the play.
Steve Withers makes that play. You don't have to worry about what the score is because he goes in and scores a touchdown and it's all over.
And now it's 4th down.
And you see it on the replay. If he gets both of his hands together on that football, he has an opportunity to score on it.
There was an incidental stat we mentioned at the very start of the game, and that was that the home team had won the 3 previous title games. The dark jerseys belong to the home team, and Providence looks like they have a great shot at making it 4 in a row. Sacred Heart Griffin needs a first down more than anything else. Wells passes over Swoboda's head. He's out of bounds. Providence will take over on downs.
You feel like victory was snatched from you? That's the way Sacred Heart has to feel.
As you look at Ryan Wells walking off the field, is there any better picture of a young man who certainly feels we had this game won? What happened?
I mean, at 17-7, you feel like you're in control.
With 6.5 minutes left.
Right, and now all of a sudden you turn around, it's 22-17. Well, I have to feel this way, that Springfield Griffin didn't lose this football game. Providence won it.
Exactly. The Providence kids refused to realize that at 10 points down with 6.5 minutes left, they were in trouble.
They've been there before. They've had an opportunity, and they took full advantage of everything they could. And Springfield Griffin Sacred Heart fumbles the ball in a place where it was most unlikely that it would happen, with 3rd down and 12, and they were just going to take the easy way out and try and punt, and they fumble the ball and give good field position to the Celtics so they can go in and score for the winning touchdown.
"13 seconds remaining on the clock." It's really a mere formality. Of course, everybody will mention at this point Herman Edwards. But I guarantee you these Providence kids will be holding on to that football, squeezing the living out of it.
And they're all hunkered down right now, and they got their safety back.
The countdown begins for the Providence Celtics. What a comeback. They were 10 down halfway through the 4th quarter, and they come back to win it 22-17.
And when they were 10 down, it really didn't look very good, like it was going to happen.
Let's give credit also for the play to go for the 2-point conversion, because it left them with more than one option.
Right, and we're seeing a picture here where you've got a lot of Sacred Heart players that are broken-hearted over this football game. They played their heart out. They played a good football game, and they lost to a good football team. I would have to say, though, that it was very fortuitous in certain situations to be able to come and say that you won this game, 22-17.
The Cyclone players are simply stunned. The unfortunate thing about this format is the fact that somebody is going to go home very disappointed after having a great season. Sacred Heart Griffin lost a total of 2 games. We're going to take one more look at the game-winning touchdown. Robert Cruz is never going to give up that football.
And there's
Louis Medina fighting his way and just leaning his way. Just perfect technique for a running back. That forward lean that just keeps propelling you forward, and Medina ended up in the end zone.
The interesting thing about that is the linemen scored first because they had moved Sacred Heart back that far over the goal line, and then Louis Medina danced in for the touchdown.
And now you have to wonder if before this game, Matt Sneffner went to his juniors and said, you know what, you guys won a state title as a sophomore. If you can win this one, think of what you can do, maybe win 3 in a row. Guarantee you the junior players for Providence are already thinking about that, even as they savor this 1995 Class 4A state title. What a day of football we have had at Hancock Stadium. Carthage won the 1A title going away. Hampshire came out in a close game and won the 2A title. The 3A title very close, went to Spring Valley Hall. And we cap it off with Providence coming from 10 down in the 4th quarter to win this game 22-17. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow for the 5A and 6A title games.